Hello, guys. This is Bharath, your USP coach, and I just want to, rewind back to the year 1998 when I got my first job after finishing my graduation as an engineer. I got my first job in the information technology sector, and I got employed in a reputed firm and. I was there for about a couple of years, and then something crept in me and kept saying that I am not doing something right. So I ended up getting fired from my first job, and when that happened, I was like bonkers. What is happening to me? Like that kind of thing. There was a late realization that I should not have done anything to deserve this and all that. It wasn't the right thing for me. So to have been fired from my first job, so it was a really a defining moment for my life. And when that happened, I thought, okay, I have to make amends. That I will learn something that will make me valuable to an employer. So this video, I'm going to entirely focus on the mindset that you need to become successful as an employee. I'm not advocating that being an employee is the best way to live, but I'm sure a lot of people are still in the mindset of seeking employment. See, as you know me, I'm not a person who would ask you to choose this or that, but among the available choices, what best can you do is what I would always speak about. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about what are the mindsets that you need to become an employee. What are the mindsets that you should not have as an employee? Having the right mindset of an employee can actually make you succeed and grow in your employment also. So that's what this video is about. So when that first mishap with my job happened, I underwent a lot of transformation within myself. There was, I was undergoing a lot of introspection and trying to come up with ways when. So I had to make a decision whether I want to continue a job or I want to do something else. But given the immaturity that I was, and growing up in a world where employment was considered employment in a reputed firm with a good salary was all that mattered in those days. So I grew up in that environment, and so anything other than employment seemed out of my mind. Nothing was coming to my mind at that time. So I thought, okay, I had to go get my next job. So I went, attended a few interviews, and I got the next job. But the thing is, after I got my job, I was like, okay, I had this new mindset, right? I had undergone some introspection, and I knew, okay, because of that introspection, I knew what I had done wrong, what I should not have done in the job, or how I should have done it right, and all that. And then I got another job, and then did fairly well in the job. Then I quitted that company. I was seeking some opportunities to work abroad. So I joined the next company, and I went abroad. Was there for about 2.5 years, maybe 6 months plus 11 months, about 19 months. I was there 1.5 years, and then they asked me to come back to India. So I came back to India for a while, and then went back to them, and I switched an employer in the USA, and was there for another 4.5 years with that company, and then my visa got expired. So, or I wouldn't say visa got expired. Before the visa was about to expire, I made preparations to come back. To what actually prompted me to return back to India was also the recession that happened in the year 2008. There were a couple of instances that happened in the year 2008. One was the floods of Iowa, because I was living in Cedar Rapids at that time, and the entire town of Cedar Rapids, because the Mississippi River was flowing through, the border of Iowa. It was flowing through. The neighboring states, and it was in the it actually formed nice border between Iowa and Illinois. So but there were a lot of tributaries and tributaries of the river Mississippi, one of the river Iowa, and there was also Cedar River and all that. So a lot of things. When the floods of Cedar Rapids happened, a lot of companies went under. When I say went under, they didn't go under the water, but they actually they fired a lot of employees, and so it was actually a very tough phase for people to live in. So at that time, I thought, okay, I have about 6 months left in my visa. Why would I not go back to India at this time and seek employment there? But then one thing I failed to realize at that time was that Indian economy was also dependent on the US economy. So if the US was having a recession, India was probably headed towards that in a little bit. So around 2009, when I came back to India, jobs were not very hard to find. There were tons of jobs, but the thing was that none of these were the jobs that I wanted to do. So finally, I got a job in a company that I really wanted to work and preferred to work, and I got that, and I was there, and about 5 years after I joined that company, there was a situation in the company when layoffs were being discussed, and people were really scared that they were going to lose their jobs, and I felt a little insecure too. Honest to God, I was also insecure. And what did I do? What did I do? Well, I didn't do anything differently. I just kept everything to myself. I knew I had this fear. I had in the year 2012 or 2013 or 2014, I had even read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and given a book talk at the library of my company, and people even appreciated me for that book review. The book review that I provided was actually talked about by many people, and people, even when strangers saw me, they used to say, the guy who gave the book review about the Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I mean, I'm not promoting that book now anyways, but it was a good book. A good book that can be ranked as among the first books to read by any entrepreneur. Or what is the difference between the entrepreneurship mindset and the employee mindset. So, but in this video, I'm going to talk only about the employee mindset. Just imagine this. You are a person who does not depend on your job for a living, for money, for anything. You don't depend on your job for this thing. Then what would be your way of approaching work? Would you approach the work as an employee, or would you approach the work as a part owner of your company? Think about that. So this was one of the transformative things that I gained by reading the Rich Dad Poor Dad. Although the book doesn't explicitly state this, or it doesn't advocate having an entrepreneur mindset towards your work, it somehow triggered my thought within me. So how am I going to distinguish myself at my workplace? So that is when it struck me that I should not think that I depend on this job for a living. Instead, I should think that the employer depends on me for their living. This is totally radical. People will not even come close to realizing this. But this is 100% true in my case. I do not approach my job as an employee. I approach my job as a part owner, as somebody who partners with my bosses and tries to bring in more customers for my employer. That is the way that I think about my job. And point is, now imagine what could be the benefits of a mindset where you are you are constraining yourself to be an employee working for a job, waiting for the month end salary, and uh, you know uh, just doing it as just another job. So whenever the layoffs happen, you're again reverting yourself to the thinking that, oh, am I in the line? Am I in the list? That is a wrong mindset to have uh, whenever you live. I mean, regardless of whether you're an employee or an employer, doesn't matter. But it's a wrong mindset to have that you're going to be fired. But rather, the mindset that I cultivated in my years of employment is that I should think like an entrepreneur. I should think like a part owner of my company or a partner with my company who works to bring more customers for my employer. So when I changed my mindset towards that, I started analyzing who are the stakeholders who would be benefiting from my work. I wanted to get clarity around that, and when I started getting clarity around that, I was able to do my job like a rock star. It's as simple as that. Because when you are an employee, you just take instructions from someone, right? You don't have ownership about that role or the job. But the moment you think like an entrepreneur and deeply and you start becoming deeply inquisitive about who is going to benefit from the work that uh, you're doing, then you have a totally different approach to work. And let that thought sink in, how to bring the entrepreneurship mindset to work. So think about it, guys. You need not be an entrepreneur, but try to think from the owner's perspective. Who is your employer? Who are their customers? Who is the customer that you are intimately involved in terms of work? When I say intimate, I mean who are you closely working with as a customer? Um, so when you put that person in front of you before doing any work, your work becomes more clear to you. That's an amazing mindset to have when you do your job. And this, see, I am making this video in the hope that this would benefit current employees, aspiring future employees, and or employees aspiring to transition to entrepreneurship, whatever it may be. But while you are employed, try to have this mindset that, okay, I'm not just an employee doing a job, but I'm an entrepreneur looking to satisfy my customers' needs. Uh, and when you have that kind of a mindset, uh, you will become very indispensable to the company. I mean, you don't have to plan to be indispensable to your employer. You just have to just use this mindset. I mean, cultivate that mindset, and your behavior automatically transforms from one of taking the job or doing the job to finding more customers for your employer. And when you find more customers for your employer, obviously your employer's profits and margins are going to increase, and they may actually credit you for that. And that's what leads to promotions, pay hikes, and better quality of work. I mean, not only better quality of work, but also better satisfaction, associate satisfaction, which is your own satisfaction, but also the customer satisfaction. So think about all that, and that's key to to becoming a successful employee. And when somebody is transforming from an employee to entrepreneur, it's important to have this mindset. And also, if I were to be an entrepreneur and I had to hire someone who was an employee before, working with some other company, and if I had to hire that person, why would I employ somebody who would just take instructions from me? Why would that person not have the ownership and do things by themselves in order to bring more customers for me? So that is what I would love um, uh, to speak to you about. And in this video, this is the difference between the employee mindset and the entrepreneurship mindset. So think about that, guys. And I know you like my videos. You have subscribed to my videos. If you're not subscribed to my videos, please subscribe to my channel and like my videos, share them, let this message go around. My mission in life is to transform the lives of 15,000 people or more in the next 5 years. And I cannot do that without the support of my followers, without the support of my subscribers. And I would request you to please go ahead and spread this message of the entrepreneurship mindset of an employee. Thank you.